Justice isn't something that you can determine based on whether or not you were right. And in the case of Michael Brown, justice, like it or not, was served. The original eyewitness accounts say that Brown had his hands in the air and he was saying, "Don't shoot," which is believable, because if you're in a little fight with a cop or something, you know he's getting his gun, you freak out, you go, "Don't shoot," you don't want to get shot. I can see that happening. Then we get other eyewitness accounts that say he started charging the officer, and that's why Darren Wilson had to shoot him. I can see that happening as well. So we got these two completely contradictory eyewitness accounts, and we don't know what to believe. Then we're given actual physical evidence that disproves one side entirely and backs up Wilson's story perfectly. And there's still people going around calling Darren Wilson a murderer. It was decided that for this case, a grand jury would be used to figure out whether or not to charge Darren Wilson with a crime. Grand juries have been an accepted practice since grand juries have become a thing. They've been around for a long time, and almost no one at all has had a problem with it. It's been this great thing, people use it, it's great, whatever. Grand juries! But because they didn't reach a decision that the protesters wanted them to reach, suddenly grand juries are this awful thing that are unfair to black people. People, it is time to put down the freaking pitchforks already. They found hard evidence. They put it to a grand jury. This thing that, has been fine up until now when suddenly it's a problem. They decided not to indict. It seems like case closed to me. The places on his body where he was shot indicate that he had his head down and he was running. The blood on the pavement was 25 feet away from where he was laying on the ground, meaning he started one place, he was shot there, and he moved towards the officer while continuing to be shot. Now, I don't necessarily think we should stop the protesting. I just think that maybe you don't use someone that's basically been proven to be a thug. You don't use him as a martyr for your cause. You could use so many other instances where there's actual police brutality. I heard a story today, I haven't confirmed it yet, but I just heard it. I'm pretty sure it's true, might not be, but I'm pretty sure stuff like this has happened before, where there was a break-in by police, like these riot shield guys came in to a home without a warrant. Apparently there's some way you can just up and do that, and a guy came in the door and threw a flashbang, and it landed in the crib of an infant and went off. Burned the baby. Pretty bad. And we're not using him, we're using Mike Brown. The guy that we proved charged at an officer and tried to take his weapon. And as far as the violence in these protests, everyone knows that anyone who actually cares isn't going out and burning businesses and trying to hurt people. The people that are doing that aren't even related to the cause. We don't even need to acknowledge them, because we know they're just out there so they can loot and get into trouble and do a bunch of stupid crap. So to wrap this up, they proved Darren Wilson innocent. Stop calling him a murderer. We know he was protecting himself. You can keep on protesting, but don't target Wilson, and don't praise Mike Brown like he was this incredible guy that never did any wrong, because we know he did do wrong, and he did wrong on that day. And also, before I forget, whenever you decide to protest, maybe don't do it on an interstate or on some major roadway where you're going to be in a lot of people's way. Especially because this is Thanksgiving and people are going to be going to the relative's house. It's like the busiest time of the year you could have decided to do this. Do you think you're going to be gaining supporters by making everyone late to go and eat at their family's house? Do you think, even if it wasn't Thanksgiving, people would appreciate you getting in the way It's not like people haven't heard about it. Whew, finally able to get it off my chest. This has been Midget of Midget and Delta, and stop being a bunch of looters and polluters!